Good afternoon. The military actions in Ukraine have already resulted in ecosystem losses estimated at United States dollars 40 billion. This includes air and soil pollution, damage to forest resources, and contamination of the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. As a consequence of the war, nearly 700 animal species and over 800 plant species are now endangered. The full-scale Russian aggression against Ukraine, which began on February 24, 2022, commenced with bombings of populated areas, leading to widespread destruction of natural landscapes, industrial facilities, civilian infrastructure, and housing. The construction of fortifications and ongoing shelling have caused significant harm to natural geosystems, contamination from explosive materials, economic disruptions, and changes in land use. Such extensive changes, unprecedented of the European continent since World War II, necessitate careful accounting, assessment, continuous monitoring, and strategic planning for prompt responses to threats and landscape restoration after hostilities cease. One effective approach for assessing damages, developing strategies, and planning necessary actions involves the use of geographic information systems, remote sensing, and cartographic research method. By leveraging these technologies, we can better understand the environmental impacts of military actions and devise comprehensive plans for recovery and restoration efforts. Aims and main task of research. The expansion of military landscapes in Ukraine due to Russia's armed aggression necessitates a comprehensive approach to analyzing landscape disturbances, assessing damage, and restoring affected areas, while advancements in technologies such as LIDAR, unmanned aerial vehicles, and other remote sensing tools have created new opportunities for high-resolution damage mapping. There remains a significant gap in the scientific justification for their application. Therefore, our study aims to establish effective approaches for remote monitoring of hazardous natural processes triggered by the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. To achieve this goal, the following tasks will be addressed. Review and summarize the existing literature on the impact of military actions on landforms using remote sensing techniques. Develop methodologies for studying these changes through geoinformatic technologies. And provide examples of identifying landforms disturbances caused by military actions using remote sensing data. This research will contribute to a better understanding of the environmental impacts of military conflicts and facilitate the development of strategies for effective monitoring and restoration efforts. About study area. Primary geomorphological manifestations from the wars of the 20th century have left many visible traces. In cities heavily bombed during World War II, significant amount of debris were collected in designated areas, creating debris mountains that altered local geomorphological processes. Modern military landscapes include fortified areas, defensive lines, strong, strong points, checkpoints, trenches, dots, and other types of fortifications. They also feature the remnants of shelling, such as bombs and shell craters, areas affected by fires, destruction of tree, shrub plantations, damage to vegetations, the destruction of dam reservoirs, mined areas, and the impact of military vehicles. In pursuing defense and offensive operations, military forces often prioritize expediency in combat tasks while neglecting ecological considerations such as soil protection, preservation of vegetation cover, shore reinforcement, prevention of gully formation, and rational land use. Following World War I in France, you see in the slide so-called red zone, or in French, zone rouge. Were established where people were resettled. The French authorities designated over 1,200 square kilometers of fertile land in the Battle of Verdun, 1916, as destroyed, imposing strict bans on access and agricultural activities. Through cleanup efforts, this critically affected zone was eventually reduced to 100 square kilometers. Without human interference, the territory took many years to recover, with explosion craters becoming integrated into the landscape. You can see in the picture. Ukraine's defense strategy in 2022 has rapidly evolved by incorporating lessons learned from early engagements and modern technologies. According to the Minister of Ecology of Ukraine, Russia has committed over 4,700 environmental crimes within Ukraine, resulting in damages exceeding 60 billion of dollars. These actions have caused widespread air and water pollution and left approximately 25% of Ukrainian land potentially mined. This context underscores the urgent need for comprehensive assessments and restoration strategies for landscapes affected by military conflict. Methodology. We can use different methods of remote sensing data, from panchromatic and multispectral sensor with varying resolutions. The image sources are often platforms including firms, EO Browser, Google Earth Pro, USGC Earth Explorer, and Maxar Technologies. All image sources are official, ensuring the credibility and reliability of the evidence obtained through satellite image analysis. Image processing can be conducted using the open source Quantum GIS software environment. The significant potential for studying relief changes due to military actions lies in processing data from high-resolution LiDAR, multi-angle photogrammetry, and airborne or satellite synthetic aperture radars. Notably, the SRTM mission provides ground spatial resolution ranging from approximately 30 to 90 meters, while TerraSAR-X and Tandem-X offers a resolution of 12 meters in standard mode. LiDAR data from the Verdun battlefield area remained visible even a century after World War I. All this damage. Additionally, optical and thermal data, particularly multispectral data, hold substantial promise for identifying landscape changes. It is important to note that some features not visible in images can be inferred indirectly. For example, a decline in groundwater levels due to dam destruction can impact vegetation growth. The use of SAR radar data from Sentinel-1 combined with texture analysis from Sentinel-2 is particularly noteworthy for identifying buildings destroyed by shelling in Ukraine. Combining satellite surveys with surface relief data to detect changes in areas affected by military actions is a research area that will remain relevant long after the conflict concludes. The integration and analysis of diverse multi-scale data obtained from satellites, aircrafts, unmanned aerial vehicles, and field observations will be essential for identifying, describing, and characterizing changes in relief structure, the nature and extent of surface alterations, and their potential environmental impacts. The accompanying of slide illustrates a framework for geoinformational monitoring, state assessment, and landscape rehabilitation in areas affected by the war in Ukraine. Main results. In addition to inventorization maps that provide a retrospective analysis and assess the current state and changes in landscape complexes, assessment and forecast maps are a crucial tool for informed management decisions regarding future land use. The primary objects of mapping include fortification structures. This category encompasses trenches, dots, checkpoints, minefields, dragons, teeth, anti-tank obstacles, and underground defense structures. The second is consequences of shelling. You can see in the slide examples of remote sensing data that show these consequences. This includes the impacts of explosions from projectiles and rockets, as well as the destruction of buildings and infrastructure. Together, these elements from defense lines and fortified areas contributing to various belligerent landscape complexes. Another name of belligerent landscapes is military landscapes. Military actions have significantly altered land use in affected areas, resulting in restrictions on public access to forests, the inability to farm due to minefields, forced evacuation from border settlements, and internal population movements towards western regions of the country. The company's slide illustrates examples and descriptions of natural processes and changes in their dynamics caused by military actions with particular emphasis of this transformation. You can see natural processes and the changes of these processes by military actions, and the object of monitoring in the third column. Um, the geomorphological consequences of armed conflicts, particularly in modern times, primarily manifest as defensive structures. Almost all natural processes previously discussed have corresponding analogs or uh, undergo significant alterations due to warfare, such as construction of defensive structures and the formation of craters from uh, munitions explosions. Comprehensive studies can effectively identify these geographical sense changes. The application of GIS algorithms, including morphometric analysis using self-organizing maps and hierarchical agglomerative clustering, shows promise for quantitatively assessing and classifying war industrial landforms. Analysis typically evaluates several factors to determine the types of weapons used in strikes on Ukrainians through satellite imagery. These examine patterns of destruction, impact craters, and derbies distribution. Specific weapon signatures such as blast, radii, and thermal signatures can also be analyzed. High-resolution imagery can reveal distinctive features like missile trails or remnants of the weapon itself. To analyze destruction patterns, we assess the extent and shape of damaged areas to infer the size and type of weapon used. Impact craters provide insights into depth and diameter, indicating whether the strike originated from artillery, missiles, or aerial bombs. Derby's distribution helps identify the blast origin and potential weaponry. For instance, a concentrated Derby's field may suggest a localized strike. The slide demonstrates examples from Moshchun village in the Kyiv region, where shelling has created caverns alongside damage to Hostomel airfield in Hostomel city. In the bottom. Remote identification and monitoring of landscapes in post-war Ukraine are critical for ensuring security, promoting sustainable development, and facilitating efficient resource allocation in regions recovering from conflict. These efforts will enhance the well-being and stability of affected communities while protecting the environment. The analysis and synthesis of literature indicates that GIS modeling methods for processing remote sensing data are effective for identifying and monitoring landscape changes resulting from military activities. To summarize previous findings, we have compiled a list of specific geological processes that become more active in war-affected landscapes, along with their monitoring levels and priority remote sensing data sources. The authors highlight the potential use of sensors designed to collect geospatial data across various spectral zones with different spatial and temporal resolutions for detecting and monitoring landslides, deflation, coastal erosion, gravitational processes, gully formation, and water logging. Further research is proposed to study hazardous geological processes in key areas such as the floodplain of the Irpin River, the channels and food plains of the Dnipro River below the Kakhovka Dam, Aleshki Sands, and the outstrikes of cities like Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Vuhledar, and other locations where active hostilities have occurred. And our research is continuing, and thank you for your attention.